In this video, I will be analyzing my backflip, using my knowledge of biomechanical principles and the human anatomy. I will be focusing on the three parts of the flip: the preparation, execution, and follow-through phase. I'll be looking at how Newton's laws and balance and stability relate to my backflip, and analyzing the strength and weakness of my backflip. A key principle in the preparation phase is Newton's three laws of motion. Newton's third law of motion relates the most to the preparation phase of my backflip. It states that for every action there is an equal and opposite reaction. This means that for every force or anything that moves, there is the same force acting in the other direction. In this case, as I jump on the mini tramp in the preparation phase, the more force I put into the tramp, the more force the tramp pushes me up with. This is very critical to perform a successful backflip, as I need the tramp to get up into the air. If I don't put enough force into the tramp, then I won't be able to execute the flip. To put the force into the tramp, I use my quadriceps, gastrocnemius, and hamstrings by flexing and extending my muscles in the downward motion. The jump occurs with plantar flexion, which is a concentric contraction of my gastrocnemius as the agonist, and my tibialis anterior as the antagonist. I use the hinge joint in my knee to cause flexion of my quadriceps. Force summation is also important when jumping in the preparation phase. The muscles have to work in the right sequential timing to execute the flip properly. Using my largest muscles first to build the force and power, such as my quadriceps, hamstrings, and gluteus maximus, then using the smaller muscles to be more accurate with the movement, such as my gastrocnemius, tibialis anterior, and soleus. This is a weakness of my movement, as I did not put enough force into the tramp, therefore, based on Newton's third law, did not go as high in the execution phase. I could have put more force into the tramp, making it easier to rotate and jump higher. The higher you jump, the better you can rotate to perform the flip in the execution phase. I did not jump as high, meaning I had to rotate faster, making the flip harder to perform. To improve this, I could get stronger quadriceps and gastrocnemius, so that I can create and generate more force to jump higher. I could try to improve my force summation by applying my hinge joint in my knee, and the ball and socket joint in my pelvis, and the synovial joint in my ankle to generate a greater force in the preparation phase to jump higher. I could have also used my arms to swing and create more force and momentum by extending my arms, using the ball and socket in my shoulder to help begin and rotate and jump higher, as shown and explained here by the gymnastics coach.
Like this, you need to be able to put your arms high up in the air, and you need to push through the ground and squeeze your knees into your chest. So you need really strong arms, really strong legs, and strong abs in order to do this.
Another key principle in the preparation phase is balance and stability. The center of gravity is one of the main factors of balance and stability. The center of gravity is the point of an object's mass around which the rest of the body is balanced. The taller the person, the less stable the center of gravity, and the more mass the person has, the more stable the center of gravity. In this case, I am 6 foot tall and have a mass of 82 kgs. This allows my center of gravity to be relatively stable when in the stand-up position, as shown here. While standing, the main muscles that contribute to my balance and stability are my rectus abdominis, which is the core, quadriceps, hamstrings, gastrocnemius, and lower back muscles. My base of support is also very important. The base of support is the area underneath an object's mass. The wider the base of support, the more stable an object will be. In the preparation phase of my backflip, I have my feet less than shoulder width apart. This is because the tramp was quite small. This meant that my base of support was weaker, as my feet are closer together. Therefore, this makes force summation very critical, getting the right timing of the muscles so you can stay balanced and execute the flip. Having good force summation can help you execute the flip, even if you have a small base of support. Another factor of balance and stability is the line of gravity. The line of gravity is a vertical line that goes through the center of gravity to the ground. If the line of gravity goes through the base of support, then you are very stable. In the preparation phase, I'm standing straight up, so my line of gravity goes through my center of gravity and through my base of support, increasing my balance and stability. As I move from the preparation phase to the execution phase, my balance and stability decreases as I jump and begin to rotate. This is because my center of gravity moves and is no longer in line with my line of gravity, therefore making me less stable. I need to make sure that I maintain my balance while in the execution phase so that I can land and be stable in the follow-through phase. To rotate, I lean back and tuck using my deltoids, hip flexors, and knees to form a tight ball. To do this, I use the ball and socket joint in my shoulder to extend my deltoids and grab my knees. And I use the ball and socket joint in my pelvis to lift my thighs to my chest to help rotation. I use the hinge joint in my knee to bend to form a tighter ball and contract my core to stabilize my body. Being in this tuck position makes it easier to rotate as there is less rotational inertia. Rotational inertia is the force that prevents rotation. By distributing my mass in a smaller area, there is less rotational inertia acting upon me. This means that I can rotate easier and perform the execution phase of the backflip as accurately as possible and remain balanced and stable. Newton's second law of motion relates to the execution phase of my backflip. It states that force equals mass times acceleration. This means that the more mass or more acceleration an object has, the more force it will generate. To rotate and perform the backflip in the execution phase, you need force. To generate force, my mass is the main contributor. This is because I am not taking a run-up, so I have limited acceleration. While executing the backflip, I generate force by being in the air and by the movement and rotation of my mass. Because I am in the air, gravity is working upon me. With my mass at 82 kgs, and there is a 9.8 newtons of gravitational force, I have a gravitational pull of 803 newtons. That is the amount of force that is pulling me back to the ground. While in the execution phase of my backflip, I am also accelerating. As I jump and begin to rotate, my acceleration increases due to angular velocity. Angular velocity refers to how fast an object rotates around a point. As you can see, when I tuck, I rotate around a point at the center of my mass. This allows me to spin and increase acceleration as I rotate. I use the angular velocity to complete a full rotational circle and get back to the upright position to land in the follow-through phase. Balance and stability is very important in the follow-through phase of my backflip, as to land properly I need to be very balanced and stable. This is a strength of my backflip, as my landing was very good. I had a wide base of support which allowed me to be stable. I bend using the hinge joint in my knee to absorb the force created during the preparation and execution phase of the flip. The muscles in my leg work to stop the flip by isometric concentrations. This means my muscles are under tension and contracting, but they are not changing length. My quadriceps are the main agonist and my hamstrings are the antagonist. When I bend, my gluteus maximus is not in line with my base of support. That means that my line of gravity is not in line with my base of support, making me less stable. So, I extend my arms out in front of me to increase my stability by counteracting the force. To do this, I use the ball and socket joint in my shoulder and my anterior deltoids to move my humerus, radius, and ulna outwards in front of me, to counterbalance the fact that I am unstable, therefore helping increase my balance and stability. Newton's first law of motion is also important in the follow-through phase of my backflip. The law states that an object will stay at rest or stay in motion unless acted upon by an external force. This relates to my backflip when in the follow-through phase, as I will stay in the air until acted upon by an external force. Gravity is the external force that is pulling me down to the ground, so my body will fall down. My muscles also act as an external force to stop the momentum that I generated during the preparation and execution phase of my backflip. By contracting and engaging my muscles, it allows me to land properly in the follow-through phase. If my muscles do not contract, then I would just fall over. But because they do, it allows me to stop and land well in the follow-through phase, making the follow-through phase a strength of my backflip. In conclusion, my backflip was well performed. I managed to successfully complete a backflip to a relatively high quality. The follow-through phase was a great strength of mine, as my landing was almost perfect. I used the principle of balance and stability to make sure I had a strong base of support to control my center of gravity, as well as my anatomy by contracting and flexing my muscles to stop the force and momentum that I had created in the preparation and follow-through phase of the flip. However, a weakness of mine was in the preparation phase, where I did not generate very much force. Newton's laws of motion apply here with the third law of motion. I did not put enough force into the tramp, so did not go very high, making my rotation speed to be faster. To improve this, I could get stronger quadriceps and gastrocnemius to create more force. Overall, I think that my backflip was quite good. I used my knowledge of the skill and of my body to be able to perform it to the best of my abilities.